We are checking out and then ranking all of the hero classes in The War Within. In this video, we're talking about Riders of the Apocalypse, available to Frost and Unholy Deathknights, able to summon powerful allies to assist them in battle. Checking out these hero specializations, we're going to talk about their concept, their implementation, and how powerful they are, and then give them an overall ranking.
Zaze.
The four Horsemen of the Apocalypse are some of the most iconic Death Knights in World of Warcraft. Morgraine, Whitemane, Trollsbane, and Nazgrim are some powerful Death Knights that are awe-inspiring to see, and they are the leaders of the Knights of the Ebon Blade. When you think of Death Knight heroes, you either think of Arthas himself, or you think of these four. So this is an amazing concept for a hero specialization. Concept-wise, I think they actually nailed something that players are actually wanting to be with this Rider of the Apocalypse. Being one of the Riders is a huge fantasy for players playing a Death Knight class. They nailed this with a 5 out of 5 stars. Implementation-wise, whenever you spend a rune, there's a chance you summon one of these four Riders, who will come out and help you by using their special abilities. Each one of them focuses on a different aspect of being a Death Knight. Morgraine is going to put down Death and Decays, Trollsbane is going to put on Chains of Frost that erupt when you damage them, Nazgrim gives you a huge strength boost whenever he's active, and Whitemane puts on a powerful disease that's going to tick for huge amounts of damage. Anytime you summon one of these horsemen feels extremely rewarding. They noticeably come out and do their specific action, and you can feel the power behind the specialization. On a paler horse actually allows you to be in combat while mounted outdoors, which is a really cool talent if you're going to be doing out in the world stuff. The other option here is Death Charge, which replaces our Death's Advance with a riding of our Death Charger, a better version of the Paladin's Steed. This is a great speed boost, and it still gives you that feeling of being mounted in combat. The rest of the tree, for the most part, buffs one of the different horsemen. Each of them has their own talent node that's going to make them more powerful whenever you summon that particular character. Our choice node at the bottom is quite interesting, either giving us extended duration of our riders whenever we use 50 runic power, or giving us a buff of damage whenever we manage to summon two riders at the same time. The capstone ability makes it so that whenever we use Frostworm's Fury or Army of the Dead, we summon all four of the riders who will then assist us in battle for a long duration. This feels absolutely amazing. Using that huge cooldown and having all four riders come out and buff up your damage is just so rewarding and so impactful to your actual feel as a character. Implementation wise, they again nailed it with a 5 out of 5. You come out the gates feeling like the class, especially with that outdoor mounted combat. You just feel like a Rider of the Apocalypse, and having your four brethren come out and assist you really ramps into that feel. Power-wise though, compared to the other two specializations available to Death Knights, this one is falling a little bit behind. The randomness of which of the riders you are able to summon with your abilities, and how often you're actually able to have multiple out, is not particularly reliable. Due to the different buffs that each one gives, sometimes you're going to be in situations where summoning one of them is not ideal and you don't get the full benefit of it. This is especially true with Nazgrim, who requires you to kill targets to get his buff to be at its full potential. Or Morgraine, whose entire gimmick is related to his Death and Decay, so if there's a lot of movement going on, that gets absolutely wasted. For total percent of your damage wise, this one doesn't lead up nearly as much as either of the other two specializations are able to give. So it does fall down a little bit, but it's still generally strong at about a 3 stars. This gives it an overall specialization score of about 4.5, making it one of the best specializations in the game. Overall, I do believe most Unholy and Frost Death Knights are going to lean into this specialization mainly for the fact that it feels so good and it's close enough to the others power-wise that it just feels worth it. Although if you're trying to min-max, I do feel like for DPS Death Knights, Deathbringer is going to bring more damage to the table. That is, of course, with the current beta balance of these abilities. I don't know if there's really much that I would change about this specialization. I think it is very well done. The only thing I could possibly say is that you don't really feel like one of the riders yourself for the most part unless you're using that outdoor mounted movement speed. So it might be something like a Knight of the Ebon Blade more than it is a Rider of the Apocalypse. Let me know what you think of the Rider of the Apocalypse, and if you think it's also quite a bit further ahead of the other two hero specializations conceptually and implementation wise in The War Within. I'm Zesty Fresh Zaza Games, and we'll catch you guys next time.